Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Road and Rubber podcast. Today, this is going to be episode one, first episode ever. We are going to be talking about the 3-liter Jeep ecodiesel. So, we're going to mainly be talking actually about the 3-liter Jeep ecodiesel that we put into this bad boy, the Jeep Gladiator. So, there's a lot. I have a lot of comments about this. A lot of I have a lot. We're gonna start it off. So here we go. So we got this. This new Jeep 3-liter. It came in about last year actually. It came in for the Jeep Wrangler. People loved it. I think that it's honestly. I think it's a pretty good engine. I know that Jeep and Ram had some Chrysler really Dodge products. I don't know. I think is it Chrysler? I think Chrysler owns all of it. But I know they had some problems with their ecodiesels, and they had problems ecodiesels with their Ram trucks that they released in like 2014 through 2016. Big scandal. It really was a big deal. But I think that this year they're having a much better time. They fixed the emissions and all of the other garbage that they were having problems with, and it seems to be working a lot better. So Heap seems to be doing better. Anyway, moving on. This new Heap ecodiesel, it's in the Wrangler, and as I already probably stated, it's very popular. People like it a lot. It has a nice amount of torque. Speaking of torque, so unfortunately, I was looking at it, and there's this website called greendieselengineering.com, and I was like, oh great, they have this fantastic graph, but the only problem is that I'm looking at the graph, and if you come over here, they tell you, I just looked up when it was available, and it tells you the 3.6 liter V6 will not be around until 2020, but it develops 260 horsepower and 442 pound-feet of torque from the crank. Now, if you come over here, this is a dyno of this Jeep, this 3-liter Jeep engine, and you can clearly see that they accidentally put the numbers backwards. So they put the torque instead of the power, and the power instead of the torque. So this is actually your power curve right here, and this is your torque curve. They miscolored it because if you look back here, and also this is a diesel, you have to remember, so it wouldn't make sense that it would make more power than torque. That would be kind of broken. But as you can see here, it makes, guess what? You have to remember that this is a dyno. This is measured from the rear wheels. I can't highlight that. It's measured from the rear wheels. So you're gonna have a little bit of power loss. So we were saying what, 442 foot-pounds of torque. We're looking right here. This is supposed to be your power, your horsepower. Instead, this is our torque graph because they put it backwards. You can see it's bang on at about 415 pound-feet of torque, which is right on to what we want. So they just mark this backwards. Green Diesel Engineering, if you hear this, you put your graph backwards, fix it, please. Anyway, back over to this thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off with kind of what I think about what do I think of this as an idea. So I actually do think that this is a good move for Jeep. I think that it's a good marketing move. It will bring some good competition for the Chevy Colorado diesel. I know that a lot of people really like those. A lot of people really like those a lot. You can see here, there's a ton of them. It comes with a little baby Duramax. I think it's a 2.4 liter or something. And it's definitely going to be a good move for Jeep. I think that Jeep definitely made a good decision in saying we're going to we're gonna take this vehicle and make it a diesel. They're putting pressure on Ford because Ford has the Ford Ranger. They're putting pressure on Chevy because Chevy originally was the only one that had a diesel engine. Chevy / GMC. GMC obviously also comes with a diesel engine now. So really, this is a great marketing move, but I only have one fundamental problem with the whole diesel mid-sized truck market. And the problem I have is that unless you are taking your truck and you are driving it a lot, like you are driving it miles upon miles upon miles upon miles, and you're towing with it maybe, that's the only time I can see it. And you're not towing a lot either. You have to be towing almost nothing. But then again, I don't know. Probably a full-size truck would be better at it. The mid-size trucks are not as optimized for towing as a full-size or a heavy-duty truck or a half-ton or a three-quarter-ton truck. You know, so it's kind of, I'm kind of torn about it because you're going and you're saying, okay, let's make this brilliant diesel, and you're like, oh great, but you're putting it in a mid-sized truck. You know, that's kind of like it's kind of defeats the purpose. It's like putting a V8 inside a Prius. You know, sure it's cool, but the goal of a Prius is supposed to be you know, environmental. It's supposed to sip gas, but it's not doing that. You know. It's just kind of I feel like it's kind of counterintuitive. Unless you're driving your truck a ton, I really don't see I don't see a good purpose of it. And you also have to remember that, you know, mechanics are going to be more expensive, everything's going to be more expensive. It's going to be more difficult to maintain a diesel engine. Do I like diesel engines? Hell yeah. I love diesel engines. I think that the new power stroke that they're making is great. I'm a big fan of Cummins. I like Cummins engines. I think that Ram does a really good job on their Cummins engines, or Ram actually doesn't make them. Cummins makes them, but I think that the Ram trucks that have a Cummins in them are great. I think that diesel engines have their spot in the truck market, but I just don't believe it's in the mid-sized truck market. I think that it's kind of pointless almost. I don't know. That's just my take on it. But moving on, let's say that what I just told you, you're going to ignore, and you said, okay, I'm going to buy the diesel anyway. Good for you. More power to you. Let's move on to some other things. Oh, yeah, also, one other thing that I think is also, this is a big one for me, is that also the diesel, you're paying more money for a truck that is slower. Your truck is going to be slower with the diesel. They already showed it. They've done multiple drag races with this thing. You know, you can check out the fast lane truck, and I've seen them where the gas engine is just faster. It's just plain faster because it's lighter, and it creates it doesn't create as much power, but it has more horsepower, more peak power. So you're paying more to get a slower, more difficult to use, more difficult to service vehicle. I don't know. It's just it seems a little counterintuitive. Unless you're doing a lot of towing or you're towing the boat, I don't really see a point of it. But let's come back over. So that's not what we need. So I have here from Motor One. So if we come over here, we're gonna look. So the diesel engine, so this is, remember again, this is backwards. So we got over here, we got our horsepower. So our horsepower starts. Hold on, that's not even close. What the heck? What graph is this for? This is not right. Because if you come over here, so it's supposed to have 260 horsepower. This is just some garbage graph because it's saying it's making, you know, almost 400. That's, yeah, this graph is total garbage. Okay. So we're going to disregard that graph totally. Drop it. Forget about it. I'm just going to look it up right now. Jeep, not keep. Jeep ecodiesel dyno chart. Let's images. Here's one I found. I did find this one on the JL forums. Let's open image. Let's come over here. So it's a little hard to see, but this is correct. This is actually right. So there we go. So we got our torque right here. I can't really see, unfortunately. I cannot really see. Let's see if I can get a different one. How are you? What do you think? Oh, that looks good. Let's see this. Yes, this looks good. So, Jeep Cherokee 3-liter V6. This is the one. Oh, these are 2014. That's not what we want. dang, okay. Unfortunately, this truck it hasn't come out yet, so there's not. This is a. That's a power stroke. That's not what I need. Last one. If this one doesn't have it, this is 2015. Dang it. Yeah, I can't find it. So, I guess I don't have a dyno graph for it. I'd love to have one. This is the best I got. So, we can see that this is a lie also, because this is your torque, and your torque is 425. It's supposed to be way up there. This power is all the way down here. So this is garbage. We don't have a dyno graph, everybody. Sorry about that. No dyno chart. Dyno chart's a lie. So we'll come over here. So we'll just infer at this point that this ecodiesel has these numbers: 260 horsepower, 442 pound-feet of torque. That's pretty good. So this is garbage. It's all garbage. Okay, so let's go ahead and we can look at the other options that we have from Jeep. So if you go to buy a Jeep Gladiator, just right now, just went down to your local Jeep dealer, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, whatever you want to call it, and straight down to your Chrysler dealer, and you said, I want a Jeep Gladiator that is extremely overpriced. I'm sorry. I also want to throw that in real quick, because I believe that these Jeep Gladiators are so incredibly overpriced. They want just like base. I think the base price or whatever they call it. I'm forgetting the name of it. The lowest price, the cheapest you can get this car off the lot is $35,000. You can pull a Chevy Colorado. Not with many features, two-wheel drive. This does come with four-wheel drive standard. I will give it that. You can pull, and it's also a crew cab. You can pull a Chevy Colorado, though, base model, straight from the dealership for like I think it starts at like $21,000. So there's a whole 15, like almost, it's not 15. I'm rounding, about 15. There's like about $15,000 of not upgrades, but of more money you're spending just for this Jeep. Like I said, though, it is a crew cab. It does have four-wheel drive, so I think that when you include that crew cab in the four-wheel drive, I think it's actually around $30,000 if you're getting a Chevy Colorado. Still, that's $5,000 more for the Jeep. That is a lot of money, so just keep that in mind. These Jeeps do not come cheap. So here it is. This is their glorious 3.6-liter Pentastar V6. They've been making these for years. People love them. People hate them. People think a lot about them. People don't think a lot about them, but here they are. So you can see here they make 239 horsepower straight from the wheels and 223 torque. 223 foot-pounds of torque. Sorry, we need to add that foot-pound part. So they didn't mark this is not a good graph either. Wow, why aren't people just able to make a good graph, dang it? They didn't mark at all the horsepower and the torque, so we'll have to guess here, but I can probably give you a pretty good educated guess. So what I can assume is that the one that ends up slightly higher is going to be your horsepower. That's usually how it works. And your torque usually comes from low down. So this is going to be your torque graph, and this is going to be your horsepower graph right here. Best guess I got. So we can see here that at about, they didn't go all the way back. So this is RPM. So we're at 2,000 RPM right now in the heap. And you are receiving 150 foot-pounds of torque and approximately, what's that, about 100 horsepower? No, it's going to be less because it's going down. So the power isn't even in yet. You're not even getting, it's down here somewhere because they didn't extend the graph enough. Whatever. So you're not getting very much power, but you're getting a fair amount of torque over here. That's not terrible. You're approaching the, let's say, what is that like? So you're not doing too bad. But here we go. Now we're actually in the graph. So we're at $2,500. That's pretty low. That's pretty low. That's not terrible. So this thing red lines at 6,500 RPM. That's pretty high. That's nice. So I don't. Oh well, I can't tell you. I can't tell you. I would love to tell you where the Jeep ecodiesel would redline, but I can't tell you because there's no graphs for it. Dang it. I'm not even gonna look. Back. So we go. Our torque goes all the way up. So about 2.5, a little bit more than 2,500 RPM. You're hitting your max torque over here. That's pretty good, and your horsepower is still ranking up. And your torque just kind of sits here, and that's honestly that's pretty good. I expect more of a downward curve, and there should be more of a downward curve, but this is not a very good graph. So let's see. It just kind of sits at about that 200, and I'm gonna guess what is that? I'm gonna guess that's about 230 foot-pounds of torque all the way through, and then it kind of drops off at about the 5,250, about between 5,000 and 5,500 RPM. It's about 5,200 RPM. That's when your torque starts dropping off and your horsepower continues up all the way to 239 horsepower, all the way up here. I would have liked it if it hit more about 250, about right here on the graph for the horsepower. But it does make up for in the torque. If the engine's nice and torquey, that does help off-road quite a bit. But yeah, so that's what you normally get from the factory. So if you're looking at this Jeep Gladiator that has 260 horsepower and 442 pound-feet of torque, me saying that the Jeep is a slower vehicle may be incorrect, because when I was watching the drag race comparison, I was watching a Jeep Wrangler versus this Jeep Gladiator with the 3-point ecodiesel. But I have a sneaking suspicion that if you drag raced this Jeep Gladiator with the 3.6 liter Pentastar versus this ecodiesel, I have a feeling the ecodiesel actually may win. Even though the ecodiesel weighs 400 pounds more, I still believe the ecodiesel will have enough torque and enough power to pass the other Jeep. So, I mean, yeah, that's not... honestly, this is not a bad-looking engine now, because it's probably going to be a bit faster, but, again, it's a diesel, so... The other problem that a lot of people also don't like about it is, I believe, with these diesel engines, is guess what? You're going to have to fill up with DEF fluid. Everybody hates DEF. Everybody I know at least hates DEF. Nobody likes that stuff. It's pointless. Everybody knows that. It's just water. But moving on. So yeah, do I think that this diesel engine is really worth it? I think if you do a little bit of towing, you got a boat, you don't want to buy a full-size truck, maybe you're more into the mid-size market, but you want to tow the boat around, you got a couple of those you got a couple sleds, maybe a four-wheeler or two, you want to tow those around, this probably would be perfect for that. This would probably be a fantastic vehicle. And also, the other thing that you have to consider about these fantastic Jeep Gladiators is that they have a really nice locking differential. They have 3 lockers on them. They have front, center, and rear lockers. That's worth a lot. I think other than the price tag, I really do like these Jeep Gladiators. I think that they're pretty nice. So I think that if I would be interested to see an actual drag race between this V6 and between the ecodiesel and the V6. I think that will be something that we will see soon, but not quite, not yet. But yeah, that's my opinion on the new Jeep ecodiesel. I think that I would like to see how it comes out, but I think that it's going to be I think for that Jeep Gladiator, it's either going to be a big hit for some people or a total miss. I feel like a lot of people will just either look right over it, or a lot of people also, be diehard for it, will be really committed to it. So I don't know. I mean, really, I think that I think that the way it drives and the way it is, it's gonna really show off how it is. But yeah, I think that's what I kind of concluded. All right, everybody. Well, if you agreed, care to disagree, care to agree, please make sure to comment and also subscribe. I'll be trying to make more of these later on. I'm going to be talking about the new 7.3 liter, the new Corvette, the C8 or whatever I think it's called. I heard some news about that and everything else, everything in between. All right, everybody. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.